Hey everybody, this is Perch. I'll ask a question kind of right out the gate that is probably, if I'm doing my stuff right, the title of this video, which is, are comic fans getting dumber? And, you know, I've talked about this on and off with people for quite a while. And believe it or not, the first time I remember having this conversation was in the 90s. And at that point, Marvel was doing these kind of really trashy gimmick covers and a lot, and let's just say a decent amount of the Image comics were not like super intelligent comics. That some of them were smarter than others. That this wasn't the place to go to get really high end writing. In some cases, they were simpler comics for a simpler time. Anyway, I remember having the conversation, hey, are comic readers just getting dumber? And I remember kind of, big debate in the store about this, and kind of landed on the same place that I am now, 20, almost 30 years later, which is not any more than just the world in general. The world in general has gotten dumber, and, maybe, or at least media is just different in how people consume it. I don't know. This is the kind of thing that old people say about young people and younger generations all the time. The younger generation is stupider. They don't care as much, all those kinds of things. And I think that's been going on forever. Even though you could probably demonstrably show that, hey, the younger generation is more tech savvy, is inventing things with AI, all the rest. There's plenty of anecdotal evidence suggests that no, people are not getting dumber, but maybe they're getting dumber at certain things. Anyway, having said all this, look, I do dumb things on my channel on a regular basis. And one of the things that look, I'm just going to lay it out for you. I'm looking at this debate going on about are people watching the movies or reviewing or not, and kind of that whole back and forth. And I thought what would be funny is if I did a review of Transformers 1 that my kids went to go see. And I basically start the movie off more or less correct. So I start the review, more or less with what actually happened. But fairly soon into the review, I deviated and wound up just describing a completely different movie, something that absolutely nobody in their right mind would believe was in any way, shape, or form Transformers 1. And so I don't know why. I wouldn't call this movie a classic, but I thought I landed on Porky's. Now, Porky's is I want to say 80s, but it might be 70s comedy. It had sequels to it. The basic premise of Porky's were guys trying to, sneak into a brothel and getting into a feud with the owner of said brothel, Porky's, and, shenanigans ensue. It was kind of the quintessential dumb 80s sex comedy. But, far from a great movie. It was just, I don't know, depending on, maybe there would be people in the comments who are going to show up to defend Porky's. Maybe. But it was just a dumb 80s comedy, I hope. Or maybe it was 70s. One of those. Anyway. So this is what I did. So I put up the video and I, grabbed a bunch of clips and I, immediately steered the interview subtly from, Transformers. Well, not that subtly, actually, from Transformers into Porky's. And worried that people wouldn't get the joke if I was too subtle about it, I made a couple comments during the video of, I went to the bar, so I didn't watch the movie, but I'm sure this is the way it went. And I even there, as I was getting ready for the video to go live, I thought to myself, yeah, somebody's going to get angry and get outraged that, that wasn't the movie. And so so I put a disclaimer up, like, I apologize for the stupid thing I'm about to do. And then the video went out. And the title of the video was the highly suspect Transformers 1 review, which I think that also would be a tip-off. And I think in the description of the video, I said, here's me reviewing a film I did not watch. And so that was the joke. And I expected, a few people to still not get it, but I expected the majority of people to get it. I would say, though, that based on some of the responses and other things, half of the people didn't get it. And I think, with the humor, I'm not going to pretend I'm a great comedian by any stretch of the imagination, but I think there's a difference between I got the joke, but it wasn't funny, and I didn't get the joke. I don't know what's going on. I think those are two very, very different things. And I think it is always fair game to say, yeah, Perch told a joke. It was not a funny joke. That's fair and probably truthful. Not just probably, definitely true. So, that was fair game. The I didn't get it at all is a little bit more puzzling because I in my heart of hearts, I don't really know how you wouldn't get that joke. It was not a subtle joke. I even put a clip from Porky's at the very end into the review. So, not sure. But this joke flew over a significant amount of people's heads, which brings me back to our comic fans getting dumber. And, definitely not all of you. You're all smart, genius people. I'm talking about those other people, not you. Not the person listening to it right now. But there's probably some logic here. I don't know. Comic books are an interesting product because it is, sequential images and text, and there's some, plot thrown in there. And there's all these different elements to comic books that require kind of reading comprehension and also taking visual cues. But one of the things that I love about comics personally is that as a visual medium, there's a lot of things where you could do to kind of tip the reader off of what's going to happen, either through facial expressions or subtle kind of visuals. Kevin Maguire, through amazing facial expressions and other things that he would draw, was often really good at kind of leading the action through art along, when paired with a great storyteller, a great writer. You had magic there, between the two of them. And there's lots of comic artists who have done this. I think, Scott McCloud is another one who does a lot of really clever visual storytelling, good sequential art, who can kind of lead the story along both with the words and the images and the visual cues. But you have to be able to pick up on those things. And that may be somewhat of a lost art, sad as it is, that may be something that is getting beyond people. I'd hope not, but maybe. I think you can definitely make an argument that, in the advent of, people watching YouTube, not comic review channels, I just mean YouTube in general, or reality TV, or more rapid entertainment, TikTok, quicker clips. We're seeing kind of the increase in very rapid, very quick consumable entertainment. We're seeing a lot of that. And so, I think that there's a risk there that if you get kind of hooked, addicted to that type of storytelling, you start to lose the ability to kind of understand sequential art and some of those pieces. That's what I'm going to go with. So my answer is, I don't think comic fans have necessarily gotten dumber any more than just society as a whole has gotten dumber. But I do think there's probably something to it that, comic books require a certain level of, I don't know, paying attention is the wrong word, but just a certain level of kind of basic understanding of the medium in which you're reading. And I do get the feeling like a lot of people don't get that anymore. It makes me wonder, like stories like Born Again or Watchmen or V for Vendetta or other things, like there's a lot of subtlety and depth to that storytelling. And I don't know how, like how are people able to, I mean, are they able to read and understand those comics? I'm not sure. Are we living in a world where, something like Watchmen is just going to be way too complicated for people to figure out in the near future? I honestly, if you can't get a Porky's joke in a dumb video, I don't know how you're going to be able to digest the kind of intricate complexities of Watchmen. I mean, that is as a comic book, there's are you just wondering why the alien showed up there at the end? Like did you get the story? I don't know. But I do think that if you're reckoning with comics and how to attract a new audience and kind of what all this looks like and how to build things, you probably have to at least contemplate that maybe the storytelling methods you used to use no longer work. Or, worse, I just, people aren't going to be able to understand what it is you're doing. I don't know. I wanted to throw the question out to all of you. You're listening to this right now. Do you think comic readers have gotten dumber? I did you get the Porky's joke, or were you like, and if you didn't, how 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 did you not get that one? I don't know. It does make you wonder, or maybe it is that the YouTube audience is just, they aren't comic readers. That's or at least some of them aren't. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, I deeply hope, with recording this video, the video just went out, and I've got a bunch of comments here around like, I don't get it, and hey, you shouldn't, if you didn't watch the movie, you shouldn't be giving a review, or hey, this movie didn't sound like the movie I watched, and anyway, it, did you? I dearly hope somebody, after recording this video, goes and does some kind of reaction video where they're trashing me for like not telling the correct story, but completely missing the joke. I really hope that's the case. Anyway, we'll see. So he's like, yeah, you gotta see the whole thing. Anyway, all good. What do you think? Comic readers, are we getting dumber? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. It's the notifications little bell thing. You click on that, or the follow subscribe button. There's a little button that says subscribe. It's got a couple syllables. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thanks for listening.